still have a $220,000 target for Bitcoin in 2021.
Well,
That's still my target in
I'm
2021.
happy you brought it up because this is the room where it happened, Max.
Right.
Where we had that video that went viral where you gave your forecast for the year, and I have my forecast tucked away in my childhood desk right next to me. I want to know, you have this big bold forecast of 220,000.
Yeah.
You were hoping for November. Have you since adjusted?
No, I saw the same thing in 2013 and again in another period where you had a 5, 6, 7x move in a compressed amount of time. So I still have that target. The fundamentals that apply to Bitcoin are only getting stronger, and people are, I think, not pricing in this news about sovereign states making Bitcoin legal tender. I mean, this is the first, Bitcoin separates state from money. In the case of El Salvador, it'll be running parallel with the dollar, but the individuals have the right to take control of their own private keys. It's outside of the state's control. Same thing everywhere. And the government makes a good point. They're saying, why should we be in the business of the central bank business? We can outsource that to Bitcoin, and we can use geothermal, which is free and ecologically sound. And we can do other stuff with our time as a government. Government shouldn't be wasting their time trying to monkey around with monetary policy. It's a complete waste of government's time. Just outsource your monetary policy to Bitcoin and work on something else. Build roads, take out trash, do something that governments are good at. Don't focus on monetary policy. Governments are horrible at monetary policy. At this point, there's no difference between the United States and the Soviet Union in terms of monetary policy right now. You have a Politburo of decision makers making horrible decisions based on price signals that are concocted out of horrible feedback, out of horrible price signals, and they're both going to go the exact same way, into the trash bin of history, because they have no monetary policy, because they're run by kleptocrats and geriatric senile old idiots, and they're just going to die on the vine. And these countries run by young, enterprising entrepreneurs like El Salvador and others are going to be like, we'll take it. We'll run the world. Thank you very much. And Bitcoin is our standard.
And you had forecasted that a few years back, that we would see this wave. But what's interesting about the countries that are adopting, you're saying they're led by younger entrepreneurial people. I mean, who do you think we could see next in terms of those countries? I mean, they all seem to be centralized in the same area. Is that not?
It's no mistake. After the Monroe Doctrine and the U.S. turning the southern states, the Latin America and Central America, into a slave labor market and cheap commodities using the dollar. Read John Perkins' book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Washington, D.C., the CIA would send guys down there and load them up with debt, and if you don't pay the debt, we'll throw you out of an airplane. That's been America's foreign policy in the region for decades. Now these countries are saying, hey, you know what? I think we'll opt out. Thank you very much, but we don't need you, because now we have Bitcoin, as I predicted and a few others predicted. The whole question was never, when will governments ban Bitcoin? The whole question is, which governments will start to adopt Bitcoin, and you get into this hash war. You get into competitive government acquisition mode. Like, we need as much Bitcoin as possible. You see the New York, they're having a mayoral race right now. The guy who's leading the race said, oh, to heck with Miami, because Miami has declared itself the Bitcoin capital of America under its mayor, is saying, we're going to be the Bitcoin capital of America. New York City is going to be the Bitcoin capital of America, according to the mayoral candidate. He just came out with that this week, right? So that's what I've been saying is going to happen. There's going to be competition to get the most Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, and get the most businesses, Bitcoin businesses. That's what we're going to see happening. It's called game theory. It's baked into the protocol since day one, and now it's playing out on the sovereign level, as we predicted for many years. So there's not going to be any banning of Bitcoin. There's going to be those countries that are smart enough to get in now and reap the benefits, and then those countries that'll wait and be, suffering.
It will be really interesting to see who will be added next to the list.
Well, so clearly in the region, as I said, Paraguay just came out today and said we're joining. My understanding is that Guatemala is ready to go. So it's when you.
But I mean, like a European country. If someone like a country in Europe were to come out and say it, that would be huge.
Right. But they can't afford not to. That's the way game theory works. If these countries start to develop sound currency and sound currency policies, and El Salvador's GDP is going to triple, property prices are up, people are moving there, and this has all happened very quickly. So if you have a country and your GDP is suffering and your fiat money is deteriorating, you're going to be tempted into the Bitcoin standard to take advantage of that. Which country in Europe? I thought that Iran would be a candidate to go Bitcoin. They already have like 4.5% of the hash rate right now, from what I understand. Obviously, Russia, they totally got out of dollars. They dumped their last dollars out of their reserves. They have no more dollars. So they are free to do something smart, like do what Paraguay, what El Salvador just did, go to a Bitcoin standard. India is also possibly, they go vacillating back and forth. So India, Russia are two prime candidates. And in Europe, because of the dominance of the ECB, and when I talked to you in January, I said the ECB was the most corrupt central bank in the world. Christine Lagarde is an absolute disaster. And I predicted that would be the first major central bank to go under. And I still think that that's true. The European Central Bank is going to go under, and then these countries are going to be fending for themselves, and then you'll have them when they get split off. Some of them will break off and say, hey, we're going to go to a Bitcoin standard. But right now they're still under the influence of the European Central Bank, which is an atrocious, absolutely ungodly institution that's causing untold harm and damage all over the EU under Christine Lagarde. And so that's the problem that they have right now.
Wow, you might actually like Jerome Powell more than Lagarde.
Probably. I think Jerome Powell is, he's simply inherited the same set of policies that were set in motion by Alan Greenspan, Ben Bernanke, Janet Yellen. It's the J. Powell put. They just print whenever the markets go down. It's, set and repeat. But in America, though, unlike in Europe, you have the states. So the states have a lot of power. This is not true in Europe. So Texas can change the laws in Texas. Florida can change the laws in Florida to be pro-Bitcoin. New York can change the laws in New York. We saw this in the marijuana business where states declared their own laws that pertain to marijuana, like in Colorado, and that's putting pressure at the federal level. So in America, you get states and federal separation of powers. But in Europe, it's one homogenous kind of top-down bureaucratic nightmare, and so you don't have that.
Good stuff, Max. I think just hearing you talk before about the price will bring a lot of sense of calm to people panicking about the price. But it's a good reminder that this is what Bitcoin does. It's just a question of how long. I've had experts coming on saying this is going to be, winter has come for Bitcoin, and this could take months, maybe years to shake off.
It's not going to take years. Look, Warren Buffett famously says over and over again, that he loves down markets. He's done his research. He knows what the values are, and he loves it when markets are down. He loves it when markets crash because he can buy what he wants on sale.